Hello my lovely people and welcome to Owen's Mind, a light-hearted trip through the contents of my head and the world in general. It is Sunday the 29th of September, my name is Owen and here is what is on my mind today. So, how are we? How's our weekend going? Good, I hope. Mine's been kind of up and down, it's not been too bad. Couldn't sleep at all last night. So like 4:30 this morning I was up and about. So I took myself off to the gym, had a bit of a workout, came back, had breakfast. Now I'm doing this for you guys. This afternoon I've got to head out, take my TV back. I had a TV less than 6 months and it's just failed. The panel's failed, so it's not a fuse or anything like that, it's just the actual panel itself. It's backlit, but it's just a pure black screen, so there's still power to it, but something's gone wrong. One of them things, I suppose, it's under guarantee, I'll take it back and take care of it. But first and foremost, got to talk to you guys. So as always, I've picked out 5 stories making the headlines I want to give my thoughts on. Links in the description so you can read the articles in full and give the original publishers some love. So let's get into story number 1. And this is on BBC News today. So a cathedral service has heard tributes paid to a cat achieved social media fame by hanging out at his local supermarket. So yeah, this is Garfield the Cat, who sadly died in the car park of his beloved Sainsbury's store in Ely, Cambridgeshire, in July after being hit by a car at the age of 12. And he was remembered in the city's cathedral, which each year holds a service in celebration of animals and people's lost pets, which is lovely. So along with Garfield, there was dogs, cats, donkey, ferrets, guinea pigs, and even birds were in the cathedral. Garfield was well known at the supermarket where he spent most of his days lolling about on the sofa in the lobby being petted by customers, and he amassed a fan base of more than 7,000 people from across the globe who followed his adventures on Facebook. 450-ish pet owners and animal lovers attended the service. What a lovely story. So Canon James Garrett and Canon Jessica Martin, joined by a rescue dog Gonzo, celebrated the lives of animals in the community and blessed them. Mrs. Carroll said the whole of Ely, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, mourned when he died. Garfield touched thousands of lives around the world. She said in the eulogy was not just for Garfield, but anyone who has lost a pet. She says, in remembering Garfield, remember all those pets, she said. And as the fictional Garfield might say, I'm not really gone, I'm just off on another adventure. And after Garfield's death, his owners put up a charity page, which has raised over £2,000 for the local branch of the Cats Protection League. So I just think it's a lovely story because it's animals so rarely get equal billing with us, with the human beings. They're often deemed as, disposable because obviously they're food source, not cats and dogs, but livestock. Anything less than kind of Homo sapiens is deemed as a lesser thing in some people's minds. And the fact that it's like, no, animals mean a lot to a great deal of people. So why not have a service? Why not remember them in the way that you remember a loved one? Because people love their pets. And I think the fact that this cathedral does this is wonderful. Every year they have a service and it's like, you know what, you can remember somebody in your life who touched you and that you miss and you mourn their passing. The fact that they may have 4 legs or wings is irrelevant. This other living creature meant something to you and you want to come and just be in a place where you can kind of reflect on their lives in a positive way. So it's a wonderful story. And again, they set up this charity page, which other people have donated into, which is going to benefit the lives of other cats in the area. So it's local branch of the Cats Protection. So just a fabulous story. Yeah, we need more of this, more of kind of people doing more for animals and, just other creatures in general. So moving on, story number 2. Another animal story, yes. Dora Labrador's guilty mugshot after swallowing the owner's engagement ring. So this was in Scotland. This story's in the Mirror today. So Brody the Labrador puppy from West Lothian, Scotland, shocked his owner after he swallowed the owner's engagement ring whole. Edinburgh Live reported. So it was taken to the vets and it was given an injection which caused the animal to vomit. It expelled the ring and a 5p piece, and the ring was cleaned and returned to the owner. Yeah, so they put a little post up on Facebook. That's Ayrton Veterinary Hospital. Here's a story with a certain ring to it. Naughty Labrador puppy Brody paid us a visit recently after eating his owner's engagement ring. Vet Laura gave him the injection, made him sick, brought up his breakfast, a 5p coin and the ring, and here he's looking pretty guilty, referring to the picture you've seen. So, thoughts on this? Again, just, it's so hard when you've got animals in the house because, you know, they're curious and they will pick up foreign objects. Just, I mean, like toddlers will do the same thing. So just be aware, this person, you know, I've had previous partners and they get in from work and, you know, they've got rings, and if they're typing all day and that kind of thing, it's just, you know, it's just nice to take them all off, slide them on the side with your keys and a bit of loose change. Anyway, for whatever reason, the dog's had taken an interest in this ring and swallowed it. But dog's doing fine. The lady's got a ring back, so all's well that ends well. But just be aware, guys, when you've got pets in the house and young children, that kind of thing, just try and just, if they're in a habit of eating things, you know, or being a bit overly curious, put stuff away, put it out of the way. But yeah, in this case, happy ending, and I'm sure this couple now, Brody, now that they know Brody's got a penchant for eating whatever, not just his dinner, they will be more careful in future. So, but again, everyone's fine, so good news, good story. Story number 3. Right, United Airlines flight diverge after woman gets stuck in the bathroom. So this is from MSN via CBS News. So United Airlines flight was diverted Wednesday evening due to a passenger getting stuck in the bathroom, CBS San Francisco reports. United Airlines flight 1554 was heading to San Francisco International Airport from Washington, D.C., was diverted to Denver International Airport, according to CBS Denver. Fire department was called around 7 p.m. to get this lady out. Passenger told CBS San Francisco 5 firefighters and mechanic got on board, freed the woman, who's embarrassed but otherwise unharmed, and nobody else was injured. Passengers on the flight said woman was stuck for about an hour. Okay, so not terrible. They released a statement on Wednesday, the airline, United Airlines, saying the door became inoperative while she was inside. So they're reaching out to all customers on board and the customer in the lavatory to apologise, carrier said. You know, fair play, good on them. The flight took off for San Francisco about 2.5 hours after landing in Denver. So, bit of a delay. My thoughts on this is there's going to be a lot of people who kind of go, just keep going. They should have just gone. She was stuck in the lavatory, you know, so what? She's in there, she's sat, she's got water. Just continue your flight because this has inconvenienced my day and this has inconvenienced the passengers. Yeah, I get all that. But you can't. You can't do that. Because number one, it completely locks up a washroom, which is needed for the passengers. And there may be multiple on the plane, I don't know what model of plane it was. But more so, if there's an emergency, if something happens and there's a passenger in an unsecured bathroom, no seatbelts in there, what then happens? And again, the likelihood of that is slim. It's highly unlikely there's going to be an emergency because whenever you fly, it's very unlikely that, you know, an emergency is going to occur. That's why you hear about them on the news, because they are so infrequent. But they couldn't have travelled on. They had to get her out. So they landed at the nearest available airport and they got it out. And it sounds like, you know, the people were delayed a couple of hours and then on with the flight. So it doesn't say in the story that anybody was particularly put out by it. But I imagine there will be. You get any group of people. And I've been on flights and things where, you know, they tell you about little delays and that, and you can kind of hear the murmurs going around the cabin, you know, we've got to divert around a weather system or this, that and the other, and you can hear the, you know, the disgruntled wave kind of travel down the cabin. It was flipping it, I got paid X amount of pounds for this all, you know, getting delayed by 15, 20 minutes. Like, it's 15, 20 minutes, you're off on holiday. It's not the worst thing. So imagine there was a bit of that on this flight, going, oh, stupid woman, stupid this. The airline has said it was, the door became inoperative while she was inside, so something occurred, it was, whether it was a broken lock or whatever. But they couldn't have gone on, they had to land it and get her out as quickly as possible because you just can't allow for that flight to continue in case there's an emergency. She's stuck in that room now. Supposing there's a fire on board. Supposing they have to make the emergency landing. Again, not highly likely, but certainly possible because it does happen. And this woman is stuck in this room. They can't get her out. So, yeah, the right call. People were held up, but they got where they're going eventually. So excellent. I'm sure she was embarrassed. It says she was a little bit, but otherwise unharmed. It doesn't sound like it was her fault anyway. It sounds like it was just, maybe a latch on the door. But again, there you go. So moving on, story number 4, another flying related one actually. Flying taxis could soon be a reality as rooftops in London are leased to be landing pads. So here we go. This is in the Sun today. So flying taxis are closer than ever as companies have begun leasing rooftops across London to use as landing pads for them. So Uber, Airbus, BMW, Rolls-Royce and Google-backed company Kitty Hawk are all working on flying taxi technology to take passengers on short airborne trips across cities. This is a thing. This is the way it's going, the future and all that. The technology will have to pass strict safety tests before it can be used in the UK. Excellent. However, Skyports, a landing infrastructure firm, have already agreed 15 rooftop licenses for landing pads across London. So Skyport, I want to say Sky Sports, Skyport co-founder Duncan Walker said, "We're in a number of cities and we're taking rooftop leases and also opening the world's first vertiport in Singapore in 3 or 4 weeks." Another company, Skyscape, said it is also in talks to start leasing rooftop spaces across London. The city is set to one of the biggest markets for flying taxis. Okay, it makes sense. It's a big metropolitan city. It's UK's capital. It's heavily congested, which is why they have congestion charges. So if they can alleviate that and have people above, I can see why they do it. I'm not convinced on the technology. And you look at the way people drive now when they've just got the X and Z axis to negotiate. You're going to add Y in there as well. So we're going to be people commuting in 3 dimensions essentially. Yeah, you need to nail the safety on that massively, and I'm sure they will. I'm sure that's it's going to be. It says stringent safety. I'm sure they mean it. But this is a new technology, and if it fails, because it's a city-based design, it's going. It's probably going location to location over busy town centres and busy streets. If one of these fails and drops, it's coming down on other people, inevitably. There's no area of London that's just kind of dead and open areas. So if this is going from A to B, it's going to pass over a congested area. So if it comes down, there's more than just the occupants of these new sky taxis to be concerned with. So obviously they're going to take that into account. Safety is going to be absolutely paramount as it needs to be. But I don't know, is it not better just to kind of fix the congestion at ground level rather than going, well, we can't do anything about it, we messed that up, so let's just go upwards. Is it not better to make it, this is going to be a service because people want to get across London quicker. That's why, isn't it? Because at the minute there's no traffic up there. So that makes sense. But surely if you make what's happening at ground level more efficient, and improve that some. I mean, I don't know if you can. The sheer volume of people that travel across the centre every day, I don't know if there is a way to make it so much more efficient, whether it be faster or akin to something like this. But yeah, sky taxis are coming. I mean, I don't think you're going to see this for a number of years. It says, they're kind of ready to go. I think it's going to be a long time. I think there's going to be so much red tape about having these things up there. And yeah, I don't think it'll happen for a long time, but it will come. I've got no doubts it will come. Technology is getting there, and these things are it basically looks like enlarged drone tech. They've got the 4 rotors. It just looks like and there is, there's plenty of tech videos you can see now where these kind of commuter drones. I think Japan already has some. I don't know what capacity they actually run in, if it's like a regular taxi thing or if it's just a proof of concept kind of design that they've done. But they are coming, so yeah, there we go. Sky cabs. It's going to be like Fifth Element before you know it. Moving on, final story. Okay, Spitting Image is coming back, and this comes to us via Twitter and The Guardian. So for those of you who don't know, Spitting Image, back in the day, during the 80s, Spitting Image was watched by 15 million people each week, and over time ratings fell, people's taste changed and the TV climate became different. It was finally cancelled in 1996, but back in the day this was a huge deal. And for those of you who don't know, Spitting Image was a puppet show, and it was a satirical look at politics primarily, but people in entertainment, political figures, national figures, people in the general zeitgeist, and it just took a real barbed look at them, and it was brilliant. It was fantastic back in the day. Anyway, they are bringing it back. Apparently the creators have said, you know what, it's right for it. So 23 years after it was last broadcast, Roger Law, one of the co-creators of the groundbreaking comedy, has confirmed that Spitting Image is set to return. The new series will feature an S&M-clad Vladimir Putin, Meghan Markle wearing a glittery princess t-shirt, and a puppet of Donald Trump whose tweets are composed by his anus. There you go. That's a very Spitting Image thing to do. I remember this as a kid. It was really good, and they really pushed boundaries with what you could kind of get away with, not just in regards the language and the material, but the way they were not attacking, but mocking public figures. They've said some of the concerns about this is that Trump himself he's pretty much a caricature of himself as he is now. So how do you satirize him and not make it feel lazy? So they're kind of aware of those concerns and they're working on it. I think the big thing that a lot of people have kind of not up in arms about, but are sad about, is that it's only set to be broadcast in the US, and this was a very British institution, the Spitting Image. The new show will be produced in the UK. British production company Avalon, which also makes Last Week's Night with John Oliver for HBO, and was behind the hugely successful Catastrophe, hopes to write the new series in the US and film it in Britain. Showrunner Jeff Westbrook, a former writer on The Simpsons and Futurama, so a good pedigree. The programme was ripe for return since today's world does not seem to have a especially large number of evil goofballs who deserve taking down. Yes, so apparently the pilot's already been shot. They are working on it. If you go and click through the Twitter feed and the Guardian link, you can see all the puppets. So you can see Putin's puppet, and some of the people who are going to turn up. The show in the 80s had lots of kind of lower tier politicians who maybe weren't in the public mind so much, which I think they've said they're not going to do this time. They're going to kind of keep it to figures that everyone's going to know, particularly being that it's for a US audience primarily. So yeah, I'm glad it's back. I'm glad it's back. It was the show that kind of, in a really smart way, it kind of spoke to you like you spoke to your mates down the pub. It was very much kind of having a go at the ridiculousness of celebrity, at the kind of comedy which is politics at times, and it just, they didn't pull any punches. They just laid it all out there. If somebody was doing something which they shouldn't, or which was, maybe it was legal, but it was morally, it was poor, the show would latch onto that and would kind of hold it up to you. And like I say, 15 million people back in the 80s is a huge audience, and they were like, yeah. So it was something you could refer to. It was one of the water colour shows you could gather and say, did you see that Spitting Image sketch last night? The way people do with Saturday Night Live in the US today. So yeah, I'm glad it's back. Hopefully it's just as biting as it ever was, and it's just a way for the public to kind of hold these people to account week to week. So yeah, glad to see it back. Anyway, that's it guys. Links to all the stories that I've discussed today can be found in the description below, so feel free to go and check them out. Let me know what you think about this video, and tell me which political or entertainment figure would you like to see caricatured on Spitting Image on the new one. Answer in the comments please, along with any thoughts you'd like to share. These were mine. They're not necessarily important, they're not necessarily right or wrong, they're just what was on my mind. So until next time,